Hello everybody, it's me John back with another episode of Itchy Mysteries, and today we're going to talk about what I would consider kind of an indie documentary. As a matter of fact, I know that you guys should be able to catch this worldwide because it is hosted on YouTube. It is called Mary Boyle, The Untold Story, and thank you so much to the Brain Scratchers that told me about this. I watched it this week, and first of all, it's interesting because of the mystery that's in it, but outside of that, it's also inspiring because if you watch the end credits, you'll see that it was created largely with a very small crew, I think of only about 5 people, and they did a really, really good job in terms of telling this story. So just to give you a brief synopsis on it, this is about the case of Mary Boyle, who is Ireland's oldest missing person case, and she also happens to be the youngest person to be in an unsolved case out there. Mary went missing in 1977 at the age of 6, and there are some very strange circumstances around her disappearance. She was on a family farm. She went walking with her uncle. She turned back because she couldn't cross a section of water that he was able to cross, and then she disappeared, and there are accusations all over the place. It certainly leaves you with some questions, wondering, is it potentially a family member that may have done something to her? Was there some other reason why they might have been motivated to do something to her? But there's also elements of possible political interference with the investigation, where a political figure may have called in to the investigators and told them not to interview certain people that were considered suspects at the time. Now, I can tell you, I've looked into this case just a little bit after the fact, and a few of the retired investigators that are featured in the documentary are now doing a bit of a retraction to some of their comments. They're saying that they were taken a little bit out of context in the documentary. But even despite all that, I think it's really well done. Mary has a twin sister. Her twin sister is a big reason why this case is still being brought up time and time again. Her twin sister is trying to get answers to this. And in a very interesting turn, her mother, who was originally a proponent for trying to solve this case, it turns out much later in life has decided that that is no longer her focus. And she didn't only lose Mary, but now apparently she is no longer talking to Mary's twin. So in effect, she has lost both daughters over this, which is kind of sad and tragic. And that is just a little bit of the scope of what is going on in this documentary. There's a lot to be considered. So I think you would really enjoy it. There is a little bit of getting used to the accents. This takes place in Northern Ireland. Some of the accents are a bit heavy. I don't know if it's closed captioned, but if you have trouble with the accents, you might want to turn on the closed captioning. YouTube will typically automatically generate captions. I don't know if it was professionally captioned, but even the YouTube generated ones, they could be kind of hit or miss, but it might help you in terms of trying to understand some of the accents if they're a little tough for you. There is some beautiful scenery, some great aerial shots of Ireland in this. I don't know if you guys know this, but I am actually a first-generation American, and I have a lot of family out in Ireland. I traveled out there several times when I was very young in life, and it kind of reminded me, we had a family farm also, so it certainly took me back a little bit to those childhood memories. And if you have never experienced Ireland for yourself, this is at least a great way to get a bit of a taste for the type of people that are out there, some of the scenery that is out there. It is really, really beautiful. But outside of that, you have this very tough mystery that you're going through, and some interesting turns. Another interesting aspect of this is Mary has a cousin that is somewhat famous. I'm trying to see if I could find her name for you real quick. Margot O'Donnell, who was kind of a big singer, I guess, in the 70s, in the late 70s in particular, and is very well known out there. So she kind of takes up the mantle of trying to bring more awareness to this case. She is interviewed at length in this documentary, and you will get to hear about her real frustrations in terms of trying to get people to help them solve this and just kind of getting stonewalled left and right. There is a little bit of a vein of conspiracy theory that is going on in this, so if you're of that type of mindset, I think that you'll at least appreciate that aspect of the story. But outside of that, it just leaves you with a bunch of questions and ultimately this very tragic case of this young girl that goes missing. I have to say that Gemma O'Doherty, I believe is her name, she is the writer, director, and producer as well. She is also a host in this. And it's interesting, I think that her voice segments that appear in the documentary, when she's not on screen, she does a really good job of reading through her material. The only thing that I found a little bit jarring is when she is on screen, when she's talking to the camera, her dialogue gets a bit stilted. It's almost like she is giving you sentences only 2 or 3 words at a time, and I just don't know if she's just not very comfortable in front of the camera or not. It only took me out just a little hair while I was watching the documentary, just because I was really interested in her information, and it comes out in such a slow patter only when she's on screen that that was just one little minor knock for the production of this. But other than that, like I said at the beginning of this, I find this inspiring. This is something I would love to see my shows gravitate towards, being a bit more traditional investigative work, getting out to the actual locations, being able to interview people, working all that footage back in. I understand the frustration that she must be going through, particularly hearing the 2 investigators say that some of their comments were taken out of context. I don't know if people realize this about being interviewed, but unless your interview is going to be shown in complete form, it is always going to be within the context of someone else's thought process. A filmmaker is essentially trying to communicate an idea of theirs. And if they're using pieces of your interview, that's automatically going to make you feel like you're out of context. So I don't know if those criticisms from the investigators are really all that warranted, but they are certainly out there. And that's another interesting aspect about this case, is after you're done watching the documentary, there is plenty of other press that you can crack into to try to learn much more about it. And this is a very recent documentary. I believe it was only posted in July, so it's only been out there a few months. It's gotten a lot of views. It's gotten a lot of kind of smaller alternative press around it, and I'm really happy to have it be brought to my attention and to share it with all you guys, because I think you'll really enjoy it. I certainly rate this, I'm going back to that old standard favorite, a 7 out of 10. There's a lot of very good things to it. The pacing might be a little slow, especially if you have a very American mindset of watching your media and you're used to being force-fed everything in a very rapid-fire way. But I think that also speaks to the different culture that you're looking into in terms of it being in Ireland. And some people might struggle a little bit with the pace, but I do think that it is worth the time. The mystery is certainly worth the time. And just coming to understand this little girl and what happened to her is certainly a worthwhile effort. So all you brain scratchers out there, I think you'll enjoy Mary Boyle, The Untold Story. So, and just wanted to say my hat's off to Gemma. Gemma, I think you did a very good job. I can't believe how small your team was when I saw the end credits. I love how you worked in all the different footage that you were able to pull together, and it was a very good cohesive narrative from start to finish, and I really couldn't ask for much more out of that story. So I'll be sure to tweet her a link to this review so she knows that we're talking about her over here on the Lord and Arts channel. Thank all of you for supporting the Lord and Arts channel. I'll catch you on the next show here. I hope you all have a wonderful day. Take care.